War Patrols, created by William Schmaltz. Copyright 2025. All rights reserved. This episode of War Patrols is sponsored by Flag Up Mailbox, located in Ironwood, Michigan. USS Wahoo, SS 238. Report of 5th War Patrol. April 25th, 1943. Departed Midway under air escort for patrol area via the Kurile Islands. Tested new flashless powder during complete darkness. Our powder is not flashless. It gives off a diminished flash. This powder cannot be compared with that employed by the Japs. This powder produces a great amount of smoke, a handicap to the gun crew when firing with an unfavorable wind. May 2nd, slowed to 1 engine speed due to heavy seas. Encountered hail and snow on the morning watch. Sighted snow-capped mountain peaks of Onakotan Islands of the Kurile Islands. Slowed and commenced surface patrol along the Kurile Islands. Will investigate Matsuwa tomorrow in close and submerged. May 3rd, dived 6 miles east of Matsuwa and proceeded to reconnoiter the island. Found a 5,000-ton freighter broken up on beach of Matsuwa, apparently a victim of a storm. Fresh paint on the protruding parts indicated that this was a recent wreck. Observed well-developed airfield consisting of 4 large hangars with stowages and a large landing field equipped with floodlights, administration buildings, radio station, and barracks. This installation is considered comparable to the air station on Eastern Island, Midway. Took several photographs and plotted positions of outstanding features on chart, then cleared the island and continued patrol of the Kurile chain to the southward. The islands observed this far south are barren and completely covered with snow and ice, the installation on Matsuwa being the only indication of any activity. May 4th. Proceeded to reconnoiter Moyoro Wan on the northeast tip of Itorafu Island, where there are sulfur works. The harbor was jammed with float ice, and no activity could be observed. The currents were causing the ice floes to surround us. Changed course to southeast to get clear. 500. Sighted through the morning mist what appeared to be a small ship, range 6,000 yards. This put him on a course parallel to the island chain. 5 minutes later, the ship changed course, presenting a 0 angle on the bow. The end on view through the mist prevented identification of the ship as other than a small freighter or patrol until the range was 3,200 yards. He was coming out of the mist, and the angle on the bow was sufficient to identify him as a larger target, worthy of torpedo fire. On the next observation, identified target as an auxiliary seaplane tender and maneuvered for stern torpedo shots. 600. Fired a divergent spread of 3 torpedoes, range 1,300 yards. The first torpedo with Torpec's head hit between stack and bridge after 60-second run. The torpedo fired at his forward goalpost evidently passed ahead, and the one fired aft must have been erratic or a dud. It is inconceivable that any normal dispersion could allow this last torpedo to miss a 510-foot target at this range. The target tooted her whistle, commenced firing to port, away from the Wahoo, and then turned away, dropping 4 depth charges. She was observed to have a slight port list, but was evidently quite under control. As this ship, a Kamikawa Haru, is capable of 21 knots and did not increase speed, it is considered probable that the one hit limited her speed to 11 knots. Continued on easterly course to clear ice pack, surfaced and continued patrol of Kurile chain to southward. Ice floes prevented us investigating Hitukapu Wan on the south coast of Itorafu. May 7th, patrolling Kurile chain, dived 12 miles off coast of Benton Zaki. Observed 2 freighters with a destroyer or patrol and a third lonely freighter pass ahead of us, well inshore, out of range. 1000. Sighted 2 ships on northerly course, hugging the shoreline. Commenced approach. Leading ship identified as similar to Yuki Haru, 5,700 tons, and the second the Yome Maru, 2,800 tons. The second ship, however, was dark gray, fitted with gun mounts, and was apparently escorting. Fired spread of 2 torpedoes at leading ship, range 900 yards, speed 9 knots. Followed immediately by a spread of 4 torpedoes at the escort. The first torpedo hit the Yuki Maru under the stack and broke her back. The second torpedo missed ahead. The patrol turned towards us and successfully avoided the 4 torpedoes fired at her. How she got between those 4 torpedoes will always remain a mystery, as the Yuki Maru had sunk, went deep, and avoided the patrol at full speed, then silent running. None of his depth charges were too close. Observed him from periscope depth and cleared vicinity. Heard considerable distant depth charging and observed planes searching during remainder of the day. May 8th. Proceeded down coast, skirted fishing fleet, and dived 1.5 miles off Kobizaki. Sighted small ship and made approach. He was running within 1,500 yards of the beach, turning into every cove. Broke off attack when he was observed to be too small for torpedo fire. 1400. Sighted 3 ships coming down the coast. Commenced approach. The convoy was zigzagging, and when the range had closed, was identified as 2 escort vessels, similar to the one encountered yesterday, escorting a naval auxiliary similar to the Kinryu Maru, 9,300 tons. Fired spread of 3 torpedoes, range 2,500 yards, speed 10 knots, depth setting 15 feet. The first Torpex torpedo exploded premature after a 51-second run halfway to the target. The second torpedo aimed at mainmast, and down practically the same track as the first, deflected by the premature or failed to explode. The third torpedo fired at the foremast, hit the point of aim, but failed to explode. Both sound operators reported the thud of the dud. A column of water about 10 feet high was observed at the target's side abreast of her foremast, as the air flask exploded. Received first of the series of depth charges expected under these circumstances. May 9th. Proceeded up coast with the intention of closing Konsaki prior to diving. At 17,000 yards from Konsaki, SJ radar operator observed 2 pips on the same bearing with the land. Changed course and tracked target, which was hugging the coast. At 0400, we were 11,000 yards ahead of target group, in the exact position they would occupy at dawn. We submerged to 40 feet and waited. Continued tracking by radar and periscope bearings until range was 7,000 yards, then went to 60 feet. The targets were soon identified as a large tanker and freighter in column, evidently making the night run between ports without escort. Fired a spread of 3 torpedoes at tanker identified as similar to the Huzisan Maru, 9,500 tons, range 1,200 yards, speed 10 knots, and immediately thereafter a spread of 3 more torpedoes at the freighter identified as similar to the Hawaii Maru, 9,400 tons, range 1,100 yards, speed 10 knots. All torpedoes were set to run at 18 feet. Just after the 5th torpedo was fired, the first hit the tanker amidships, breaking her back. She sank by the bow and caught fire aft. The 4th torpedo, a Torpex, hit the freighter under the bridge, breaking its back, and the fifth torpedo, a TNT, hit her aft. She sank by the stern. When both ships had sunk, cleared the area to the east, heard distant depth charges or bombs throughout the day, and one echo-ranging anti-submarine vessel which passed close on one occasion. Our bathythermograph, which showed a 2-degree temperature inversion at 170 feet, gave us extra confidence in our 300-foot depth. Distant explosions and echo-ranging still heard. The anti-submarine vessels belonged to the second team. They invariably dropped single charges after attempting to locate us by stopping to listen. Aircraft were used to search in conjunction with these vessels, but arrived too late to be effective. Only one echo-ranging vessel was encountered. Their doctrine seems to require dropping lots of charges and bombs, whether they know the submarine's location or not. The anti-sub vessels observed are all converted freighters with gun mounts, fore and aft, characterized by black and white checkered painting forward and after parts of bridge structure. Surfaced and cleared area to northeast to patrol the Tokyo-Paramushiru route. May 12th. Closed coast and dived 2 miles off Konesaki. Numerous sampans and a glassy sea made periscope observation difficult. Sighted bomber searching vicinity. Heard several loud explosions. Sighted another light bomber headed for periscope. Cleared area to the east. Heard numerous distant bombs or depth charges throughout the morning. 1700. Sighted distant smoke in the northeast. Commenced approach at standard speed to close the range prior to sunset. Identified target group as 2 freighters in column. Leading vessel similar to the Myokan Maru, 4,000 tons. And the second, a huge freighter similar to the Anyo Maru, 9,000 tons. They were tracked at 9 knots, zigzagging on base course south, well beyond possible position for submerged attack. Surfaced and went after the enemy at full speed while charging batteries. 2050. Sighted smoke of freighters in clear night. Picked up freighters on SJ, range 9,400 yards, and commenced working around their stern so that attack could be made with them silhouetted in the setting quarter moon. Determined enemy zigzag plan and speed as 8 knots, dived in position for a 2-ship shot where they would come by in column. As both freighters were loaded, set torpedo depth at 18 feet. 2330, fired spread of 2 torpedoes at the Anyo Maru, range 1,200 yards, and immediately thereafter, a spread of 2 torpedoes at the leading ship, range 1,400 yards. The first torpedo fired at the mainmast hit. The second torpedo fired at his stack amidships is believed to have been erratic or a dud. The target course and speed had been most accurately determined, and it is inconceivable that any normal dispersion could cause it to miss. No hits were obtained on the leading ship. The Anyo Maru was now observed still going. Waited until the range had opened to 5,000 yards, then surfaced and commenced another end around. The moon had nearly set. Gained position for surface attack, tracking target by radar. May 13th. 0100. Fired last remaining bow torpedo at Anyo Maru, range 1,800 yards, and then turned with full rudder and speed for an almost identical stern tube shot. Nothing was seen of the bow torpedo or its wake, and the enemy apparently did not know he had again been fired upon. Fired last remaining torpedo into the Anyo Maru. Some phosphorescence was observed as this torpedo headed to intercept the target. It hit under the bridge with a dull thud, much louder than the duds we have heard only on sound, but lacking the whacking which accompanies a wholehearted explosion. It is surmised that this torpedo had a low-order detonation. Some sparks were observed on the target above the impact, but he turned away, apparently, under control, belching smoke. At this time, the Myokin Maru, which was on our starboard beam, opened fire and forced us to dive for 6 minutes. When we surfaced and closed the Anyo Maru, she was lagging a mile behind the Myokin, smoking furiously and making 6 knots. We manned the deck gun but withdrew, quite helpless to stop the cripple, when the Myokin turned and rejoined the Anyo. Cleared area to east on 3 main engines. Sent message to Con-Sub-Pac concerning expenditure of torpedoes. Set course for Pearl. May 21st, 1000. Arrived at Pearl Harbor, end of 5th War Patrol.